So we are up to the end of Ois, coming towards the end of Ois Vov. The high note is explaining now the connection between the three Be'eros and the three Avos, that the two were named over quarrel because the first two Avos, the Av b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, h'tשכ means quarrel and sitna, harassment, or even hatred. So these two Avos are constantly being challenged. If an Av is based on the cheshbon, there's always another cheshbon. So it comes through a battle, and it's a constant battle to maintain, and a necessary one. But then, because there has to be that dimension also in Yiddishkeit, to enjoy it. It's not like that's the end of the concurrent avos. Like in a marriage, there's the essential b'chol ma'itcha, which in the good of that is there's no cheshbon, we are just one. But the person doesn't love himself because of a cheshbon, so that's the ava b'chol ma'itcha. It's not Mesiras Nefesh to keep himself alive. Somebody else, yes, but not for him. So sacrifice, but it's not sacrifice. Adrab. So that's the chayvos. Because here there's no battle, then the ''tשכ dusha are elevated in and of themselves. It means to say, as we said yesterday, the parallel of a marriage. It's not constantly second guessing it. It's the more than that. It just means the interaction, the connection. The engagement is not a battle. There's no fight. There's an essential bond, and it naturally expresses itself. Likewise, such a person whose Yiddishkeit is b'chol ma'itcha, which means not because of a cheshbon, not a cheshbon what he gets, not even the cheshbon that he appreciates its truth and the privilege to die for it, and not even that. So that creates always opposition. You have your agenda, I have my agenda. But when it's b'chol ma'itcha, then the ''tשכ dusha, our influence on the environment is natural. People are drawn to this because the ego is not in the way. It's as simple as that. The emes shined, and I'm not in the way. So why? Of course they're attracted. Every creature is attracted to its source. That's a natural thing. It's just a barrier that gets in the way, the hell and behester. So then okay, so the pratim here of when it comes Gilia Soivev, the square brackets. So Gilia Soivev pales this complete bittul to Lumazeh, and the ''tשכ dusha are released without resistance. So he said, l'chaydan, that we always learned elsewhere that, on the contrary, it's makif. It's from the transcendent level of makif that klippa derives its nourishment, from the level of chashei chaka'ira, where darkness and light are equal. Is that not soivev kol almin? So he answered, no. Well, it is, but that's the chitzonius, the pnimius hamakiv, the etzem. Then, adarabah, even though Yaakov halei ochu le'esav bes esav sanesi bes Yaakov ahavti, well, opposite Yaakov ahavti esav sanesi. Mitzat b'chiras ha'atzmos. So then, no, he wants this and not that, and they have no unika. There's no unika from the pnimius hamakiv, and on the contrary, they surrender the ''tשכ dusha. So this is rechayvos, the merchav ha'atzmi. That's what merchav means, broad. Broad in the true sense, not broad compared to not broad, but merchav ha'atzmi, essentially bligvul. That's the pnimis dikemakiv. Again, as we said yesterday, not a bligvul measured by gvul. It's beyond. That's the best language we can say. So now we're up to, so hence, that's the union of when Oisi and the Tzayne Shemakim, which is this Av of b'chol ma'itcha, then that's the nevuah of v'om dozarim v'ratzayna, that foreigners will arise and pasture your flock. That's an ''tשכ dusha that come of their own. So even such a ''tשכ dusha that was opposing, at least was foreign. The Yiddishkeit, the Kedusha. So in the face of such an avodah, that's Eisin Ritzoyin Leishal Mokim. Ritzoyin, as he said, is Pnimius Harotzen. And where's that Dafkin Mokim? And who's the place? That's the Yid here in Ilam Hazeh. So here the Kedusha surrender. The Derech HaMelech. So now we're at the bottom of the page Mem Tes. Page Mem Tes, 2 lines from the bottom. Should be it. I didn't realize you came in to learn. Two lines at the bottom, the number 74. And they were just saying now that the third Be'er, the third Ava, which he called the Choyvos, which is an expression of the true expansiveness of the very essence of Atzmos, Merchav Atzmi. So this accords with that which the Ramban says, Shabbat Esek, sitting on the first 2 wells, correspond to the first 2 Batei Mikdash, but Choyvos connected Beis Mikdash HaShlishi. So the Choyvos corresponds to the third one, because then Mashiach will come, Ki Gili Mercha, next page, Ha'atzmi. That when will be the true revelation of Hashem's essence? When the completion of all creation being elevated, as expressed in this pasuk, when will it be? In the third Beis Mikdash. But as we said yesterday, we're going to see more Poshet Naveda now, but he even says now, the Shleimus will be lost at love, but it's already started now. It's already started now, and it's unprecedented in history. There's no place in the world where a Jew can't be observed Torah mitzvahs, not even in Iran. Even that's permissible. And moreover, many governments support, and it's Kedusha surrender. They support Jewish education, etc., etc. But the point is the people. The people are ready. The world is ready. There has to be the avodah of, that's lochis, the avodah of Rusa de Liebe. You can say all the words in the world and have an effect because they're Torah words. The mitzvah is namshachas ha'atzmos. There's no way it can't have an effect, even though it's not coming from such a sincere place. But if it comes from a sincere place of the one who's been mashpia, because it's a reflection of his own truth, then the whole hashpah is different. Now he says in Avodah, Adked spells it out. To come to this level of what of the Av of Rusa de Liebe, there has to be fulfilled first the prerequisite. The condition is Vayatek Misham. He moved from there and he settled in Beersheba. He moved. That's the Hamshach Psukim there. Right? Yeah. So that this pasuk is Chav Dalet Samar Beis, and that is okay. Look it up in a second. There's some information in front of you just to get it straight. Chav Beis, it is pasuk Chav Beis. Some psukim before. Okay, so what does it mean? Vayatek Misham. He moved from the koi alatika shalaylam. The word atik means ancient one, the ancient one of the world. So Vayatek Misham, he moved from there. What does this mean? So first in the Oishis of Kabbalah, V'inyan atik the nukva. Nukva basically is Malchus. Nukva is us. Nukva is the Shekhinah, the recipient. What's Atik? Atik is the Nakuda, the Pnimius Atayna, the very essence of the Mekabel. So when the Avodah from the very core essence of the Mekabel is expressed, then Shemagia B'chinas Atik the Duchra. then it touches the very essence of the ultimate mashpia, the Eibishter, simple language. Commission is boiling, yeah, like I said before, that are prerequisite to Avodah is bittul. My soul before all is like earth, which means that he has to break himself and go out from all those things that he's used to, and it's his nature. Till he goes beyond all of his comfort zones and limits, etc. That's b'chol ma'itcha. That is where the makabel nukva, that is us, expresses its essential core atik, and that manifests itself in breaking all limits. That's b'chol ma'itcha. They translated this for it, like we said the other day. The av is b'chol nafshecha. No, but b'chol ma'itcha body is shaykh to, because it's much breaking yourself. But interestingly, it is atik the nukva. We all know that atik, what's the deepest expression of the nefesh, is the pleasure of being. Atik is associated deeply with essential tainug. So we say break ourselves. Yeah, that doesn't mean a life of looking for adarab, not of oppression, of never, no element of satisfaction. It's the deepest tainug is in the avodah. That's, as you all know, that's the deepest, at the end of the day, deepest pleasure is that which can come through effort and so on, and in sacrifice. So it's a paradox. The avodah is kabbalah soul, but is it expressing ultimately the atik the nukva? And therefore, this is nimshach penis atik the duchra. So this is mamshich, and this is the Eibishter's gilui atainug. Penis mercha va'atzmi, as we are describing now, the chayvus, the pleasure of being. God's being is boundless in the truest sense. Likewise, benefesh adam, tainug is not limited to rotzen. Is always something. You want something. Basically, what the rotzen is I want to express myself and be successful. That's what the rotzen is. The tainug is a pleasure of being. That's not, can't be qualified in any particular pursuit or want or desire. It's the mercha va'atzmi. Shemitzad zeh nase seisofa b'piri v'rivya farin ba'aretz. So he said afterwards, the pasuk says, he called it Rechayvis because now Hashem has made it expansive for us. Farin ba'aretz, we will multiply. As Rashi explains, what's that? As we said before, Shemizbarim Gama Nitzutzis Shenaflu Lamata Yosef. He'll elevate that this avodah attracts the lowest and deepest sparks. And they will rise up of their own and pasture your flock. This can conclude Vizel Ois Zion. Yeah, everybody's with me. VeYitzchak came from double expression. We asked the question, it should have said VeYitzchak ba me be'er. He came from the bear. There's a whole extra word there, from. Boy mi boy, mi boy. So Shepirusha, now the pasuk will be explained. The pasuk is asking and answering a question. The pasuk starts the word VeYitzchak and Yitzchak. So how does a person reach this level of Yitzchak? Hashem tzchok asali. She said, Sarah was notified that she'd have a child, so Hashem has made great delight. Which is, he's saying at the deeper level, who's speaking? This is the Eibishter speaking. So this is the Eibishter's Tainug L'maylo. So how we mamshich? So that's the question. VeYitzchak Ba, Yitzchak ba means comma after Yitzchak ba. How, it's a question. How we mamshich the tainug milamayla? The answer is miboy be'er, because sheba mehechan sheba v'noveya be'er. He came from the place. No, not that. What word is? Yeah. Okay. He came from a place sheba that he came v'noveya be'er, that the well flows. He came from the source of the well. Meaning, how does Vitzchak ba? How does it come in Yonashal Yitzchak, the supernal delight? It's the same reason for the water flowing from the stream, from the underground stream, the well, the spring. And what is that? The ''tשכ" is elicited through the avodah from below to above, transcending our own limits, breaking the boundaries. As you said before, that's VeYitzchak misham. He goes out of all of his limits and reaches this level of ava b'chom b'itcha. So again, let's go explain the pasuk so far. VeYitzchak ba, where does this level of tainuk come? How do we elicit the tainuk from Hashem? It comes from the same place as the water comes from a spring. And what is that? That seems to be the pshat so far. Hashem's delight is elicited through the avodah of milamata l'mayla. Let's continue. And what's the name of the well? Lachai roi. It's a name. But now he touches it. Pardon, it doesn't bring a source for this. So lechi koila makifim chayichid. The lechi, as we know in the laws of Eruvin, in order to enclose an open area, you need to put a lechi, it's two side posts, and then a rod or above it. So it means it's the makif. It creates the makif. So the ruchnius. So upon which the makif is placed, essentially. It's all part of that. So koy al makifim chai yichida. So where is he coming from? Lachai roi. So the lechi is an allusion to chai yichida, to transcendent, the two posts on each side. If it's a completely open area. And so that corresponds to the two transcendent levels of the neshama, chai and yechida. But here we're talking about amshach b'pnimius, which is yechida. He said before the etzem of soivav. Amshach samaki v'ba'asago b'pnimius. But here the transcendent, which is the true transcendent, is internalized and grasped. Engaging not just the instinctual parts of us, the avim, but even the intellect. Showing the chachma, what's chachma seeing, and that's the next word in the pasuk. He's coming from that the level of chai, of lechi, of chai, by the way, chesed stands for chai yichid. Maybe you meant that also. So that the level of Chayin Yechida, the Etzem level of the Neshama is Roi. I see it. It's internalized in the Pnimius. This is the whole Chiddush of the Rosa del Iba. Teire mitzvah mamshech atzmos, that's true, but not in the Pnimius. Present, but not felt. And the Kavon of Dirib Dachtenim is not just that be a home, but the home be reflect the ones that live there. That's the pnimius of it. Hashem's desire to reside within us. That's through the avodah of Rusa del Iba. So this kind of connection, like Vata Tetzav, it permeates all of the manifested faculties. It's grasped in the pnimi. It's not overwhelmed. The second Eifan Hamshach that we learned earlier. This is what we revisit in Chazorah. But in the pnimius, this is all done, achieved through the dogged effort of Yitzchak of removing the boulders and the smaller stones and all of the obstructions. The difference is the obstructions of the first two avos are the counter arguments. Also the attractions. This is attractive. No, this is more attractive. It's opposition to the first two avos. But this came easy. There was no opposition. That's the Pella. The Pella is that the battle is over on some level at Rusa de Libre, but to arrive there is the most mighty struggle. So he's speaking to us. Obviously, this is not just talking to Tzaddikim Gemurim, but it's talking to us. Not everybody's demanding this from us. It means on a certain level, it is shaykh. As we said earlier, it's more shaykh than the other levels. I'm a chassid, Kabbalah soil. The pasuk says when Mashiach will come, we'll say to Yitzchak, you are our father, not Avram and Yaakov. Because the loss of love is the completion of the whole Avodah, the 6,000 years. And therefore, then it will be appreciated. Yitzchak's Avodah, from below to above, the be'er, the well. That's where he's coming from, and that's where the Tainug of Hashem comes from, where it's touched. Then will be the completion of his Avodah. Chai Yechid is revealed, but I see it, it's internalized. The heart feels it. And the glory of Hashem be revealed, and all flesh will see. It's Bepnimius. The mouth of Hashem speaks, bringing all of creation into existence. Okay, so let's give the overview. First, I'll just read to you the overview in the beginning of the Sefer, which is just a few broad brushstrokes, but just it's worth it. It's 3 little paragraphs. The union of a bed, which the Avodah of Yitzchak is to reveal the well, the spring, through digging and removing the earth that conceals it. So this expresses the general Avodah from below to above to remove concealment, by which the neshama is concealed, and to reveal its love for Hashem. We're going to say the my love, the Ahava B'chol Ma'itcha, through which Oisin Retzayin Shel Makom, because in the Yichud of Seiv V'Rotzen Amalim Makom, not just drawing it down in the way which is affected through mitzvahs, not just Amshacha, but it should be Bepnimius. So this is only through the third Ava, which is L'mayli Mitam Adas completely. And these 3 wells, Asik, Sit, and Lechavis, correspond to the 3 levels of Ava, and to the three Bati Migdash. And to reach that, the Avodah has to be Vayatek Misham. From the very premise of the receiver, he moves. He's moved, as expression is, moved to the core. Okay, let's now peruse it a little bit together. Yeah, we're ready to do that. I ask you to fill in blanks if you can. So we're going to start with the beginning of the Maimon, page Mem Aleph, and now a quick overview of the Maimon. So the question was the double expression. Yitzchak came from coming from the Be'er L'chayroi. Just say he came from Be'er L'chayroi. Double expression. We have the answer to that because the pasuk is like a question and answer. Yitzchak brought like a question. How do we reveal the tainig above? It comes from the place, from the depth of the neshama. That's the answer in the end. Now, all of this is a preparation for what? For the marriage with Yitzchak, which is the whole point, which is the yichud of Ma'aban. That's how the mind begins right away. What's Ma'aban? Heaven and earth, drawing down Rasevev in a pnimis lemata. That's what Ma'aban means. That was the whole point in the heart of the Maimon to explain the yichud of Kutshe B'chur Shchinte on 6 levels, but we'll get to that later. I guess we'll continue Chazal tomorrow. So it's Ma'aban, which is the whole purpose of the Bria. So their marriage, which is the first marriage of Yidden, as it were, that's the whole purpose of creation. And so we're getting in these psukim is a description of the whole Avodah. Yet I can move his tent, and then he came from Be'er Chayroi. This is the whole Avodah that's required now to achieve the ultimate marriage between Yidden and the Eivishter, which is Yitzchak and Rivka's marriage. So you have to understand the whole Inyan. Or what is this Avodah of Be'er Chayroi, and why does it affect the tainig above? So much so that Mashiach will come, will say that Yitzchak, you are our father only. So to all to understand this, he explains the whole idea. This is based now of the bear of the well. This is from below to above, removing the boulders, the big tivus and the small ones, which are sometimes more insidious and deeper than the big tivus. And we remove that, and there, the well, the spring water, which is the Nefesh Elikis, gushes forth, but it's concealed, and it's a mighty toil to remove it. He was an arichas over here. Let's have a look at it. The neshama, he just whole arichas in the descent of the neshama from the lofty roof, paraphrasing the Gemara, to a deep pit. He starts to explain how the neshama itself is beyond all division. And here it's thrust in a finite body in all of these different limbs. So what's the neshama itself? So neshama is a pure divine energy that totally transcends its limitations. And that's why it can't just be invested directly in a body. There has to be an intermediary. The intermediary is the ruchnis, the nefesh hativis, the nefesh bahamis. And even more specifically, he said tzelem. Tzelem is the seichel, the intellect, the highest faculties of the nefesh bahamis. And moreover, he says, even so, this is now that was the contrast between ruchnius and gashmius in general, which is transcendence and immanence, boundlessness and definition. In addition to that, the neshama in ruchnius itself, it's ruchnius of ruchnius, devoted exclusively to likus. So here, it descends into the body. So all of this is channeled and it's invested against its will on some level in the nefesh bahamis and in the guf. So the only way to reveal it, it's such a deep hold on the neshama, which contrary to its essential state, which is boundless, and here it's bound in these shackles. So it's tremendous work to remove the boulders to reveal the water, to remove, that's removing the boulders, removing from its shackles. And what's that he said before? It's going out of all limits. So it's breaking the comfort zone. Yeah. Yeah, he was very strong in the language here and explaining what the avodah is, to go out of limitations and learning and everything. In tzedakah, force oneself. And it's the merirus, this is the bittul. She referred to the end of the Maimon, nafsha kofal keltiya, which must preface davening, which really starts Krishna Shalomita the night before. So this is the digging and the shoveling to pearl, the revelation of the koichos of the neshama and its various loves for Hashem. That's the whole avodah of VeYitzchak, the longing. Fire from below to above. Avram's love is described as water, ava kamayim. That's how we refer to it. Zechor, remember the father who was drawn after like water, like we say in Tfilas Geshem. On Shmini Atzeres, referring to Avram. That's all l'mayla l'mata. It's all because of a gili from above to below, like water flows. But Yitzchak's love is the love of longing. Avram's love is the love that saturates. But Yitzchak is a higher love, a love of longing, and that pearls the true ''tשכ asel li'elikim. To be further explained, after Is Gimel and Chazorah, we'll continue tomorrow.